Let's dive right into this explainer with this seriously mind-boggling paradox about one of the most famous athletes in history. Because if we really want to understand why money actually equals personal value, we kind of have to look at what happens when our relationship with it completely derails. Back in 2003, heavyweight champion Mike Tyson filed for bankruptcy. And get this, he was $30 million in debt. But here's the absolute kicker. He racked up that massive debt despite pulling in over $300 million during his career, literally out-earning almost everyone on the planet but still going broke. It just perfectly proves that making a ton of cash means absolutely nothing if your fundamental relationship with it is broken. I mean, what's the point of desperately hustling for wealth if your ability to manage it is totally dysfunctional, right? You can out-earn your bad habits for a little while, sure, but they always catch up.
Section 1. The money disconnect. Breaking the earning illusion. This brings us to a huge disconnect in how we're all taught to view our finances.
I really want you to ask yourself right now, what is your actual relationship with money? Like, does cash seem to hit your bank account and just immediately vanish? Poof, gone. Has a lack of it ever put you in a super vulnerable spot? Maybe even tempting you with some sketchy get-rich-quick scheme just out of pure desperation? The crazy reality is, our internal perceptions of money are way more crucial than our ability to actually generate it. Because earning a cool 6 figures a year doesn't matter one bit if, by the time December rolls around, you've got absolutely zero left to show for it.
Okay, moving to Section 2. Money equals personal value. Shifting the paradigm. To fix this dangerous disconnect, we need a complete framework shift. Instead of looking at money with all this heavy moral baggage, the whole money is the root of all evil thing, we need to step back and see it as simply a neutral expression of value. Think about it. When you buy a gadget on Amazon, or when you get that paycheck from your boss, you are just exchanging value. The cash changing hands is literally just the perceived equivalent of what's being provided in that exact moment. Understanding this totally strips away the guilt and the anxiety. Money just opens up options. It is a direct, unfiltered reflection of the value you either provide to the world or consume from it.
So the really crucial takeaway here is that your net worth is basically just a math equation. It's a metric of your relationship between what you produce for society versus what you consume from it. Generally speaking, money enters your life because you produced value, whether that's working your 9 to 5, freelancing, or running a business. And money leaves your life when you consume something, like a streaming subscription, a new car, or a pricey dinner out. So if you're struggling financially, it just means this delicate balance between what you build and what you buy is severely out of whack. You're basically extracting more value from the market than you're putting into it.
Which leads us to Section 3, the real rat race. Living on the financial edge. When your consumption heavily outweighs your production, you end up trapped.
And this classic quote from Tyler Durden in Fight Club absolutely nails it. The things you own end up owning you. Look, people sometimes say the rat race is just working a standard corporate job, but honestly, that's pretty unfair to people who genuinely love their work and the impact they're making. The real rat race is living on a razor-thin financial edge. It's being one single paycheck away from total ruin. It's that terrifying vulnerability where one unexpected medical bill or getting laid off throws your entire life into total chaos. When you live like that, your job isn't a choice anymore. It is a strict, unyielding necessity just to fund a lifestyle you can't actually afford. The stuff you own and the debt you take on to get it literally ends up owning your future.
Check this out. A massive study actually showed that 1 in 10 American workers making over $100,000 a year are still living paycheck to paycheck. No way, right? Just think about that. When you are getting paid well above the average and you still somehow manage to blow every single dime by the end of the month, your relationship with consumption is completely broken. Earning more money isn't a magic fix here. A raise just translates to a slightly flashier car or a slightly bigger house. But that same terrifying financial edge is still right there.
Let's move to Section 4, taking control of consumption, beating the biases. We have to start playing some strong defense here to take back control.
See, our brains are actually hardwired to keep us broke through some super sneaky cognitive biases. First up, the ostrich effect. We literally bury our heads in the sand. It's that sinking feeling in your gut when you absolutely refuse to check your banking app after a wild weekend, all because you're terrified of what the balance might be. Then, we've got hyperbolic discounting, which is basically just a fancy academic way of saying we love short-term dopamine hits way more than long-term security. It's choosing to buy those designer shoes today instead of investing that cash for your future self. And finally, social proof. This is the hypercharged, modern version of keeping up with the Joneses, buying things just to impress your neighbors, or let's be real, total strangers on the internet. We end up measuring our self-worth by social approval instead of our actual financial stability.
The only way to break out of these behavioral traps is to force a shift from emotional spending to cold, hard logic. You've got to systematically journal your expenses, figure out exactly what's going to housing, food, transportation, and fun. Once you actually see who you are as a consumer, you have to create a budget. And listen, this isn't about punishing yourself or never having fun again. It is simply making a conscious, mathematical decision to live below your means. It totally removes the emotion from the equation, so you actually have money left over to save and invest.
And hey, before you even think about throwing your hard-earned cash into complex investments, you absolutely must build an emergency fund. This fund needs to hold a bare minimum of 3 to 6 months' worth of your baseline expenses. This is your shield. This one intentional step is what pulls you back from that terrifying financial edge we talked about. It guarantees that a random blown transmission or a surprise medical bill doesn't throw you right back into the vulnerability of the rat race.
All right, Section 5, Scaling Your Personal Value, the Equation of Wealth. Once you've mastered the consumption side and built that shield, it is time to flip the script.
While saving and living frugally is awesome and totally works for a lot of people, we need to be real about how massive wealth is actually built. Heavy hitters like Dave Ramsey or Graham Stephan offer fantastic advice on cutting expenses, for sure, but they didn't make their millions by extreme coupon clipping. They rely on massive exponential production. They utilize a means of production at scale, whether that's leveraging media to reach millions, writing code to build software, or hiring specialized talent. By doing this, they skyrocket their perceived value in the open market.
So if you want to increase your value exponentially, this is the entrepreneurial route you have to take. And it really boils down to 3 simple steps. 1, find a painful problem in the market that people are practically begging to solve. 2, build a rock-solid solution for that exact problem. And crucially, number 3, sell that solution to the masses at scale. A successful business outputs so much value to society that the production side of your equation just explodes compared to trading your time for a standard hourly wage.
And the truly amazing thing about the time we live in right now is that you don't need a giant physical factory to pull this off anymore. Thanks to the internet, literally anyone can use their unique skills to output immense value at scale, mostly because digital products cost basically nothing to reproduce. It could be using your storytelling chops to make YouTube videos where a single upload can reach 1 million viewers. It could be coding an app that cures a massive headache for users. Or it could be building a community-first e-commerce brand like Gymshark. Even having highly specialized labor, skills that are incredibly rare and in high demand, acts as a scaled form of production. The whole goal is to provide relative value to the market in a way that touches a massive number of people all at once.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to really chew on today. Are you actively building your value, or are you just exhausting yourself to fund a lifestyle? Escaping the trap doesn't magically happen when you win the lottery or land a lucky promotion. It starts the exact second you recognize that money simply equals personal value, and you make the conscious choice to become a massive producer of that value instead of just a consumer. Start journaling those expenses tonight, build up your financial shield, and then figure out how you can solve a real problem for the world at scale. That, my friends, is how you truly win the game.